And now, welcome to 7 Questions with Emmy.
Brought to you by Steel Lake Specialty, where expertise meets compassion. Hey guys, welcome back to 7 Questions with Emmy. Today I'm super excited to be talking with Brandi Newton. She's the Executive Director of the Idaho Falls Arts Council. But after 12 years, she announced this week that she's going to leave for a new job at the Bank of Commerce. Thanks so much for talking with me.
I'm so excited I get to finally chat with you. I know you've chat with many artists back here, but now we get to hang out here in the big room.
Yeah, but it's exciting. Okay, can we get started with
You
the
bet.
questions? Okay.
Hit me.
How did you get your job at the Idaho Falls Arts Council?
I was working here part-time as the accountant when the executive director before me left, and I was helping out while they were looking for the new person, and a couple of board members came up to me and said, we don't really like this guy. Would you ever think of doing it? And I said, I don't know anything about art, so maybe not. And then I thankfully had some great mentors. I think some that have been interviewed on here, Carrie Getty-Scheid, basically bullied me and said, Brandi, you can do this. And she gave me a lot of good instruction, and I sort of had to find the courage to say, I don't know anything about the arts, but I love Idaho Falls. I love the Colonial Theater. I love people getting to see shows and to be around art. And so I said, okay, I'll try it.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
What does the executive director do here?
It sort of makes sure we're moving everything in the direction of the mission. So our mission's a lot of big words out front, but really, we want you to have experiences with art, and we try to not tell you what art is. So instead, we have a theater so you can come and see shows or ballets or music. We have galleries that we put a bunch of different art in so that you can see whatever kind of art you want. Then auditorium on Broadway because we want kids to have art. We just finished up Youth Jam. So as the executive director, my sneaky trick is that I try to hire people that are really smart and really talented and let them be the stars. And I just try to keep moving us in the right direction. But as a nonprofit, and we own all these buildings, so some of it is not super fun, right? Like making sure that the heaters and toilets work and that kind of stuff. But I sort of keep everybody moving in the right direction.
That's so fun. So you've seen hundreds and hundreds of shows over the years. Do you have an all-time favorite?
I don't know that I have an all-time favorite single one. I have favorite shows or different styles, right? Because I've been lucky enough that I've seen music. So I wouldn't say one of my favorite acts was in the last 5 years, a couple of singers by the name of Susie Bogus and Kathy Mattea. That's for all of our Gen Xers out there. But what I loved is that the two of them have been longtime friends. So they stood up here on the stage, the two of them, and told stories about how they were made into the business. And then they sang a lot of songs that I have memories of with my family. So that's like from a music standpoint. Also, there's a band called Sawyer Brown, and that was my dad's favorite band. So it was really special to get to present my dad's favorite band. My dad has since passed, so like that was really great for my family. Then we've had some that like are aerialists, and so watching them swing and swing out over the theater. We also had a group that was tap dancers and a funk band and a rapper, and so those were all ones because I think they were my favorites because like I saw them in New York first. And so that sort of excitement that I saw them in a really big city and doing really cool stuff, and that I got to bring them and share them here, that was really awesome.
That's so cool.
You'll have to come take a look at my office. I've got a bunch of posters up in there of some of my favorite shows because it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick just one.
Can you tell me a little bit about this historic theater?
Yes, so it was built in 1919. One of the cool things we found out when it turned 100 is that the balcony actually used to come another 15 feet further. And so it was originally a vaudeville theater, right? So you could stand on the stage and speak, and you still can. We should try it out while you're here. But you can stand there and just project your voice, and people at the top of the balcony can hear it. Wow. But after there was a Spanish flu, so kind of like COVID, after that it was bought by the Paramount movie company, and they needed to put in a movie screen, right? So they literally just cut off the front of the balcony, and you can see those windows up in here. There was a projection room in there, and the projections back then would get so hot that there's also a bathroom in there, and they'd lock the projectionist in with it. But they had to cut the balcony back to show those onto like a big movie screen. Wow. So That it was a movie screen and it was a movie theater until late into the 90s when it was abandoned. And then it's at that time the Arts Council was gifted to us by a really nice guy in town, and we renovated it. Several years later, so remember me saying they had just cut the balcony off? The balcony would bounce. And nobody knew what was going on until we had a couple of sold out shows and people were dancing and it was moving a little more than it should. And so they came in and that's when they're like, oh, we got to reinforce this. And it's during that they added these Juliet balconies off the front. Those aren't original. And it wasn't until we were doing the 100-year anniversary research that we found out it's because they literally just cut it off.
Wow.
Like, oh, we need more space. So they cut it off. But it's been reinforced now and we're fine. No one's going to fall down off the balcony. But it was built by an architect and a doctor for $135,000.
Is the rumor that it's haunted true?
I can't confirm or deny. I've had a couple of experiences in the theater where it definitely feels like somebody's walking behind me. It's never been scary. It's more just like creepy. But I definitely do not walk around in here by myself at night, ever. It's too freaky,
Yeah. So who has been the coolest performer to work with, did you say? You already said, but...
I would say like one of my personal favorites is actually a gentleman that's coming back this season by the name of Cheyenne Jackson. He grew up in northern Idaho, very, very poor, like no running water kind of poor. And now he's been in The Descendants and he's been on 30 Rock and he's been in several shows. When he was here, it was just him. He flew in from California. It was just him and a band. And he was just charming, telling the stories and has this amazing voice. But what I remember most is that we then host sponsors in the gallery and you got to come and meet him. And my daughters were 9 at the time and he was enamored by them. And so that was back when, were you even born then? You were maybe born. But the girls always wore like buns on the top of their head. And so I have all these pictures of him playing with one of my daughter's buns and like putting his fingers in her ears and that sort of thing. It was really that like first experience of like, they're just people just like us. And how much he just sought like kind of personal connection. So I'm really excited that he's coming back. I've had to buy my own season tickets so that I can come and see him. But he's always been just one of my favorites and love having him here. Yeah. That and honestly, and Dr. Kaboom that's going to be here later as well. I got to spend some time with him as well.
That's so cool.
People, right? They're just like us.
Yeah. A lot of artists have writers which say the things that like the performers want in their dressing rooms. Yep. What has been some of like the most unique requests that you've got?
A lot of either like vegetarian or kosher. The one that I have to say no to a lot is alcohol. There's some of those we don't pay for that. The other funny new thing is that if people come on a bus, they then want me to stock their bus as well as, so like we'll feed them here during the day and it's usually pretty standard stuff. You'll get some weird like a certain brand of salami, a certain kind of cheese or a certain kind of tuna. But the new thing has been like, oh yeah, and if my bus is here, will you also like go to the grocery store and put crackers and cheese and water bottles and that kind of stuff on the bus? And that's a little bit like, I don't feel like I need to do your groceries all the time, right? But not the weirdest one I think was a pianist that he needed a hand massage. He needed a hand masseuse. And so that one was a little weird, just like I'd never had somebody request specifically, he's got to have a hand massage before the performance and after.
Wow. So what will you miss the most about this job?
People, first and foremost. Not just my staff, they've all, like, we've sort of grown up together, but really, like, the people that sit in the seats. Because to everybody else, it's just people in seats, but I probably know, on average, like 90% of the audiences.
Wow.
And I get to know who they are and why they do it. And being a nonprofit, like, we would not exist if your neighbors didn't think this was a good idea. And my biggest takeaway will always be that we have a community that cares about people doing things that they don't know their name or their face. They just want people to be able to do it. So, sorry, I'll get a little teary. But that's what I'll miss the most, that these placards on people's seats, like, those are real people that I know that decided to take their hard-earned dollar and do something bigger with it. And that now, for generations, we get to benefit from it.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, now I have 2 bonus questions.
Okay.
So, why should people support the Idaho Falls Arts Council?
Oh, I think for a lot of reasons, but just because I think it's only through the arts that you really get to see the inside of your soul. Yeah. And I know for me, like some of my greatest memories are singing songs in the car with my family. And so then to be able to come to a theater and have that same experience, the collective experience is huge. And I don't know about you, but like music touches my soul more than anything. It can really hit emotions more than anything. And so I think it is a really therapeutic, really soul-serving sort of experience.
And then can you share a piece of advice with me or our viewers?
Yeah, I think as like I get asked a lot, like especially as a woman, right? I think my mom used to tell me all the time. It's funny what we were talking about before with your dad that will not be on this piece, but like be a person before you're a partner. Mm-hmm. And I think be who you are and who you want to be and invest in you and be the best version of you. And then decide what you're going to do next with it. That's one. And then I think the other would be like kindness always wins. Kindness always wins. In this process, it's been weird to have a life decision be on the news, right? You're probably used to it because you've been on air for a lot. There's maybe been some comments that I haven't loved in some of them. And to know that it's like people get to be people. Yeah. And that I always want to be nice and I want to be able to walk into every room confidently that I've been nice to everyone in there. And so I think always be nice. And then because you're young, don't post stuff on your social media. They will always be able to find it. You maybe don't know how to find it. Your parents don't know how to find it. They'll always be able to find it. The internet is there forever.
Yeah. Thank you so much for
You're so
talking
welcome.
with me today.
Do I get to ask you questions?
Oh, if you want, yes.
I want to. What so far has been your most memorable interview? Whether good, bad, or indifferent?
Memorable is just probably Drew Barrymore. Yeah,
because you went a couple of times, right?
Yeah, but the most memorable time with her is when we tried like a flaming hot Cheetos salad.
Yeah.
So it's like I didn't try the very spicy version, but it's like lettuce and like Cheetos, but the normal version is flaming hot Cheetos, and then like croutons, like a couple other toppings, and then hot sauce instead of ranch. It was actually good, though.
Really? It wasn't too spicy?
I had it with normal Cheetos and actual ranch.
Okay, instead of the spicy ones.
Yeah.
What do you think you've learned the most from like being in those big studios and big places?
I don't know.
How to frame yourself to the correct lighting?
Yeah.
Lighting's very important.
Yeah, teleprompter. Yeah. That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and hard too. Like don't let your eyes shift.
Instead of having to read the paper, yeah.
We had my opening this last year, we filmed me and then I had to talk to me. So we called it like real Brandi and fake Brandi. That's really hard. Like to have like a script in which I'm talking to myself that's been recorded was really, really difficult, right? And it's like, even though I had a script and I knew when it was going to come, that was hard. Like I can wing it really well. Being an actor or an actress and having to hit marks, that was very difficult.
Wow, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you have another question you wanted to ask? Okay, good. Thank you. Bye. 7 Questions with Emmy, brought to you by Steel Lake Specialty, where expertise meets compassion.